Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at the SD Gundam Cross Silhouette Mighty Strike Freedom Gundam, and of course once again this is from the Gundam SEED movie, Gundam SEED Freedom. Right now is the time of the year where I'm tying up all the loose end gunpla that I haven't taken a look at throughout the year so far. This is one of them right here. I've got another couple of SDs and a few other kits that kind of just got missed out on. So I'm just going to blast through this one today. And if you do want one of these all of your own, as usual, I got this one right here through HobbyLink Japan, and I will throw a link down there in the description. Alright, so jumping on into the build, getting this opened up, and whoa! I should be used to this by now, but yeah, SD kits do come with a lot of stickers, and that is kind of the Mighty Strike Freedom 2 when it does come to those kind of pink ones right there. We've got 1, 2, 3 bags of runners and the tiny little manual. So this right here is the manual. As usual, there is 2 choices of build. That is the standard SD style or the cross silhouette style. The cross silhouette is a little bit bigger and it's got a little bit more in regard to articulation. Here's the last few that came out. That is the Freedom Gundam, the Calibarn, and the Unicorn Gundam Banshee. When you open this up, we can see that we do have quite a few runners in here. They're on the small side, but there is quite a few. And when it comes to the actual build, you choose the top line up here for building the small style, and the bottom line here is for building the slightly bigger one, which I'm going to go with. Once again, there is a quick look at the stickers. Again, by SD standards, not so bad. That is upside down, but this is what they look like. We do have some color correcting ones. Ooh, even for the little chest cannon-y section. But then again, that is what an SD is like. I would actually say there's more effort in an SD kit than there is in something like a high grade. Stickers are tough sometimes, and painting can be a little bit tougher. We do have 2 different runners in here. This is the slightly more involved cross silhouette taller frame, and this one right here is the smaller SD one. So if you like classic SD, go with this. If you like a more taller SD with a little bit of articulation, go with this. That's the one I always go with. Man, when it comes to building a SD kit, I think the thing I dislike the most about it is the fact that we've got just one long manual. And if you do fold it, sometimes it folds like across the instructions, so there's no real right way to lay this down that isn't kind of a pain in the arse. That's probably my only biggest issue with these kits. So you kind of have to end up folding them. I find it like, well, where the pages don't fold. Strange. So when it does come to the build of any of the parts on these kits, they're super simple. It's just bits like this. So that is 3 pieces in total for the foot. But again, not too bad considering it does have a gold little inner frame aspect. The whole thing is a frame. Compared to a classic SD, it does have some very minimal articulation, but again, more than you'd see in a classic kit. The armor then just attaches on like so, and a second side here. There is no actual thigh armor on this, so technically this should be in white when talking about the particular mobile suit in question, but I think that'll be covered by the skirting armors anyway. The ankle armor pops on around back, and then on with the foot, just like so. Simple, effective, and very cute. When it comes to the waist, this is quite simple. We've got a red bit of detailing, which is nice. The vast majority of the waist unit is just 2 parts, a yellow frame section that attaches into the skirts, which are all in fixed position, well, the front ones and the back ones. The side skirts then have the rail guns, which are made out of 2 parts apiece, simple but effective. And I will mention on this kit, usually with these SD kits, you can pull these off the runners without the need for a nipper, but there are some pretty thick gates in this kit, so you will need a nipper for it. Anyway, it all assembles together quite nicely. There is a bit of movement to the rail guns, and it's simple. The beam sabers are fixed in place and just popping on the legs and the side skirts, and that's what we got. Moving now into the torso, I've already attached on the shoulder joints and the neck joint. There we go. We got some decent color separation down here at the waist. The frame pops in just like that. The armor starts to build up first off with this little gray section, which does have that big chest cannon. Again, that should be in red. I mean in gold, not in red, but there is a sticker included, but I'm not going to use any stickers in this build except maybe on the wings. The rear armor attaches on like so, and it is worth noting that this does look like it has this standard backpack adapter right here. That's pretty cool. That means we might actually be able to stick on the Mighty Strike Freedom, well, the high-grade Mighty Strike Freedom wings. So there we go with the front armor, and nice little bit of red color separation right there, and a little segment that attaches in there for the backpack. Alright, so blasting through this pretty quickly. It's starting to come together. Next onto the arms. The cross silhouette frame builds up the usual kind of way in the arms, so there is a tiny little elbow there. The armor then just attaches on, simple as that, and that. The shoulders are a simple pair of ball joints. Simple enough at the shoulder too, just 2 parts like so. Thruster segment in blue attaches in there. We've got the beam shield from the forearm, that's just 2 simple pieces. And the runner right here that the wing sections and the hands are attached to looks very similar to that plastic we saw in the high grade that does react under UV light. So if I remember in the actual review, I'll give that an L beam and see if it works. Final assembly of the arm is simple. Hand just attaches in like so. A lot of hollow parts in these kind of kits, but essentially that is what keeps the price down. There is the beam shield. Shoulder just attaches on just like so. Again, the upper arm is not in white, just in gold, but again, it's not really something you notice so much, because for the most part it is out of sight because of the shoulders. It's mainly because the original cross silhouette kits did have a white inner frame, so all this was just white with that. It was the Gundam and the Gym, if I remember correctly. So next up in here we have the head. Now this to me is always where these kits shine. It's where all the detail is, and usually where the most interesting build is. It definitely sets them all apart from each other. This is also a kit with color separated eyes, which is always something I love. That just looks great. These kits always rock a bit of a serious look on one side and a cutie look on the other. There is the serious Gundam eyes looking very Gundam-y. They actually protrude a little bit, which gives them a really nice look. Rounding the other side for the kind of more cartoonish eyes, this you need a sticker. This one right here is the sticker in question. It might be the only sticker I'll be able to use today, but we will see. That is what it looks like. Make sure I don't put this on upside down. Try to get it lined just right. And there we go. That'll do. Now I'm going to be going with the serious eyes because I always do. I think they just look the coolest because it just gels the head together nicely. Oh wait, there's a couple more stickers I'm going to be using on here. So these are the head camera stickers. There is number 1 and there is number 2. Again, like I mentioned, the color separation in these heads is incredibly nice, all things considering with these types of kits. We do have some light gray in with the white. The front of the head then just pops on over that. We even have color separated Vulcans or CIWSs on the sides. That's nice. The V-fin on this builds up ever so nicely. There is a lot of detail. If you want this little cannon section here, if you want that to be in color, there is an included sticker that looks just like that right there. I'm never going to be opening up, so I'm not using it. And then we got these really cool, actually opening up little doors for on it. So they close up just like so. That is nice. So the final bit of assembly then is just popping on the V-fin like that. Again, looking very nice. And the head face section just pops on in, and that is incredibly nicely detailed. What I love about building these SD kits is the heads, and I always steal them for high grades. So when it does come to the wings on this, these are quite involved. There's a lot of building up of parts. We've got those nice gold bits which attach onto some white parts and lock into position with this little moving aspect right here. Now all of the individual wings will need the little stickers. You could leave them off if you want to, or paint these aspects. I thought they were kind of too important to leave off, or the wings would look a little bit on the bare side, so it's a lot of stickers to attach on and will take some time. After that then some panels attach on which hide the stickers when the wings are not activated. When we get to this central aspect of this, we do have 2 asymmetrical little arm sections, this one right here and this one which pops on here for the attaching weapons. This bit then completes all of this, holds everything in position, and the 2 wings in this are absolutely mirrored, so they are the same. There is no front and back really to either of them. They do both work out in either or sort of way. Pop that on there, and then you can just attach the wings on just like so. And again, for a SD kit, this is quite nicely detailed. Finally then, that unit just attaches right onto the back of the strike like so. And again, not too bad. These cross silhouette SD kits are extremely nice. So jump now into the aesthetics, and that right there is the SD Cross Silhouette Mighty Strike Freedom in all of its glory. Now this is it just out of the box with very minimal effort, 2 snips off the runner for the most part. But besides that, this is exactly what you'll get. I did line the 2 little lines in the muzzle right there, so that's the only thing that's been panel lined on this, because that felt a little bit on the flat side. Way too flat, in fact, to just leave like that, so I did line those. Also, one extra little thing I did do is I did actually stick on the stickers for the shoulders, because I felt like that was way too big of a spot of color just to be missing. Basically, these were straight up in white, but I did add these stickers on. Doing this was something I semi-regretted and didn't regret at the same time. I did want the color, but these are the kind of stickers that do kind of go around corners. So it does mean they kind of crumple in some aspects. Paint is always the way to go, but the stickers are always an option if you do want to use those. Now, speaking of stickers, there is a whole lot of these in here that I did not use. These gray ones right here, as well as these dark gray ones right here. Those are actually for adding the gray color onto the shoulders in these sections, as well as this little segment around the knee right here. There are a multitude of other aspects that do need some stickers, like the cannon in the chest, the cannon in the head, but besides that, really, it's not too bad, all things considered. This is an SD kit, and it does get the vast majority of the colors right. When it comes to color separation, we've got some nice red lining the chest, some nice layering of parts, in the gray sections in the chest, the collar, those intakes, some red down there on the waist, and overall the colors do look nice. We did see a gold injection kit yesterday, which was the high-grade Hyakushiki, and all I can say is Bandai has definitely come a long way with its gold injection on this particular kit. And speaking of that gold injection, before I completely forget, this is UV reactive, so it does light up. This doesn't show too incredibly well on this camera for some reason, but if I do grab my phone, it usually shows up a little bit better on that. This isn't a true black light, so it does only make it fluoresce ever so slightly. I do have a full black light, but the problem with that is it needs 6 batteries, and I'm all out of 6 batteries. As always for me, the most impressive aspect of this particular kit is the head. The amount of detail, the color separation, the even moving parts on it, it's all just so impressive. Like we saw during the build, this little segment in the forehead does open up. This is something even the high grade does not have. Well, of course the high grade doesn't because the sheer tininess of its head, but this is so nice. The nice sculpted detail inside of that, just begging to be painted. Next up then, there's that full 360 spin, so you can see every angle of this for yourself in case there's something I did forget to miss. Again, the color separation on this out of box is not perfect, which is the case usually for SD kits. However, what we get is fantastic. You can paint or use the stickers for the rest of the detailing, but the detail that is on here is incredible. This is a perfectly super deformed version of the actual Mighty Strike Freedom. It just works out so well, the angles are perfect, the detail that is there looks great, and as usual, the head looks spectacular. Finally then, there's a bit of a size comparison beside the high grade. As you can see, it's quite a bit smaller, but a lot more detailed when it does come to its head. Also, in case you are curious as to how tall this is compared to a Master Grade SD or vice versa, there it is beside the Master Grade SD Freedom Gundam, a kit I highly recommend. So now jumping into the accessories, and here's the ST Cross Silhouette Mighty Strike Freedom with absolutely everything that it comes with. What we got is a sword, a pair of beam sabers, and a pair of beam rifles. So first up, when it does come to the hands on this kit, these are just the standard holding hands. Now, I assume they're exactly the same from SD and HG, so let's just find out, I guess. So anyway, there it is side by side with the high grade, just stealing this here fancy katana, well, fancy compared to the one we get with this kit, and just popping it in. So it does fit, but it is a loose fit. Almost like that kit's fit to the Earth's gravity. But there we go. So it does wiggle a little bit. So not entirely compatible, but sort of. And speaking of compatibility, we might as well try and get this off the back there. Grab this one right here. And yes, I always forgot. This bit has that little lip towards the bottom, which could get in the way. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. It's like the holes are just too shallow, and now he's in pieces. Anyway, now blasting through the equipment. First off, we have a pair of beam sabers. These, well, do actually have older style beam blades in them, which is nice, better than just plain all white. There's some detail molded into the handles, and these can attach end to end just like so, and they do click together very nicely. Popping them in the hands, go like that, and hey, why not try the reverse grip as usual, just to test it out. Those fit nice and perfectly, good grip. And I'm just gonna throw it on a stand just to get some, well, as actiony poses as we can out of it. So this should work, yeah, with any standard figure or model kit stand with a 3mm end. there we go. So when it does get to getting these kits in a pose, don't expect too much out of them, but at the same time, don't expect too little. There is a lot of nice articulation at the hips, the shoulders, there's a little bit at the elbows and knees, but the knees when bent actually look like they're not bent at all. It's kind of a funny little design. The wings can be moved too, so that is nice, and overall, you're going to get a nice kind of dynamic pose out of it. It is, well, it's set for set poses and set poses only, but those poses, it will pull off very, very nicely. And it looks cool too. When these are not in use, I would say you take these off and then pop off the beams. You can actually pop off the beams if you truly want to, but there isn't actually a point, because if you were eagle-eyed enough, you would have realized that the beam sabers on this particular kit never actually do leave the side skirts. They don't come off, they're part of the side skirts. Next up then in here we've got the katana, and as you can see it is just cast in white plastic. We do have some kind of hollow parts at the end of the guard right there, so this will definitely have to be painted to make it look right. Popping this in the hand is... what? Oh, ridiculously tight. There goes its shoulders. I will mention these barely hold on. I would recommend actually cementing these on, or they will drive you around the bend. Anyway, that right there is what it looks like with this sword attached, and again, a little bit under impressive. When this is not in use, we do have a little bit of a slot back here that you can just slide it down into, and once again, slightly tight. No, actually that feels absolutely perfect. It will slide all the way down itself, so it is actually a little bit on the loose side, and that is what it looks like round back. Last up then in here we have the beam rifles, again lacking a lot of the color they should have. They're just in black and white. We do actually have stickers in there for the sights, and these can actually attach together. They are exactly the same, so unlike the high grades and other various versions of the Strike Freedom, there is no particular front and particular back. You can use them in any way that you like, and that is both of them attached together. Popping them into the hands is the same as everything else so far. They just pop in like so and like so. And again, a little bit on the underwhelming side to some degree without some detailing up. Again, they do the job, but they are definitely missing some of that nice blue. Finally then, when these are not in use, just remove them from the hands. There's number 2. And these can then attach via a peg onto the side skirts like that. But they do feel like they heavily get in the way. So finally now into the articulation. I just had a shoulder pop off again, so these are really bad for popping off. Anyway, I don't have a whole lot of time to finish this up, so let's talk about what's interesting. The little rail guns on the sides, these can actually be extended just like so. Again, missing some color and detail, but that is still fun. As for the proud defender back here, this definitely does have some nice movement. So the wings can flap all the way to there, all the way to the front like that. They can spin on their axis, these white sections, as well as this gold section. This little part can lift up, and then all of these elements can slide out somewhat awkwardly like that there to show the pink aspects on the inside. Pretty cool. As for the Strike Freedom, I'm just going to throw it into the usual pose, or the closest thing to it. So yeah, the knee bend is one of the weakest aspects. The neck isn't too bad, but I do find the head flops back a lot anytime it's kind of leaning backwards, which does suck a little bit. But overall, the articulation on these guys is not the worst, especially by SD standards. But yeah, anyway, that right there is it for the review. I do not rank standard SD kits because they are kind of hard to rank, and SD really is an SD. This is quite nice. The head on it is fantastic. That is why I absolutely always stealing for doing this right here with high-grade kits. It's my favorite thing to do. Anyway, if you do want one of these of your own, I got mine through Hobby Link Japan. Link is down there in the description. As always, make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I will see you next time.